Here he is, the one and only, the inimitable, the golden boy here on a clapback Wednesday, perhaps? Or is that just, maybe. We'll see how this goes. I don't know.
I'm saving it for tomorrow, brother. Oh, and it's going to be a good one. Oh, my gosh.
It's become must-see TV, if you will, Oscar. So everyone enjoys those very much.
People are going to get ripped.
Okay. What's the topic this time? Can you tell us at least who's the target?
Brother, I wish I can tell you, but you gotta see it for yourself tomorrow.
Okay, fair enough.
It's gonna be epic. Yeah.
First things first, congratulations on the new deal with DAZN. Could I ask, I remember we spoke a little bit about your deal coming to an end back in October when we were at your house. And again, thank you so much for welcoming us there. It was tremendous. Can I ask, how did the process play out? Did it take a little longer than you expected? Was this as expected? Tell us about it.
Well, yeah, I mean, it did take longer than expected, but we got something done, which is truly remarkable because a lot was riding on the line. Fighters were calling, hey, is your deal done? Do we have dates? And so finally, after months and months and months of negotiating, we finally have a deal. And whether it's 1-year deal or a 10-year deal, we're actually ecstatic that we got a deal for my fighters. So I'm happy to promote these young champions and hopefully one day create the next superstar.
Since you mentioned it, could I ask, is it a 1-year deal, 2-year deal, 10-year deal, 3-year deal? What could you tell us?
It's between the 1 year and the 10 year.
Okay. You don't want to say specifically?
I don't want to say.
Okay, fair enough. How does it compare to your previous deal?
Oh, it's better. Yeah, it's equally or better.
Okay.
Than the previous deal. Yeah, we've had a great relationship since 8 years ago when I started with Canelo on DAZN, and it's been a great run. We've been able to promote some of the young champions and create new world champions along the line. So it's been great for both sides.
You mentioned that it took a little bit longer than you expected. Do you have any theory as to why it took a little bit longer?
My theory is that, look, we want to continue building champions. We want to continue to sign the best talents out there. I'm sure that the competition has gone a little tougher in terms of signing these fighters and having competitors trying to sign these top prospects. But look, it was smooth sailing, I have to say. It's just that there were so many little details that we wanted in the contract, obviously to protect DAZN and to protect us, but most importantly, to make sure that we build new champions, that we sign new champions, and DAZN is all for it. They're on board. We're partners, and we're gonna continue doing what we do at Golden Boy, and that is give you the best fights.
Could I ask, are there a number of events attached to the deal per year that you guys are going to put on, like guaranteed X amount of events?
Yeah, we'll be doing championship shows. We'll be doing contender shows, which are shows that we highlight our top prospects and talents. We'll be showcasing Kid Austin. We'll be showcasing the likes of the fighters that we've been cultivating along the way over these years. So it's gonna be a better relationship because we finally have a contract with a partner that knows exactly what we need to produce these champions. The production level is going to be amped up. And that's a big thing for fighters these days because, as you know, for instance, fighters now, if you sign across the street with Zuffa, they're being taken away their rights to showcase their heritage, where they're from. They can't wear their colors. They can't come out with music. They can't do this and that. So I think part of this whole deal is based off of making sure the fighter has an identity,
Hmm.
and the zone got it right off the bat, and so they're going to be able to have better production. They're going to be able to wear whatever colors they want to wear, come out to their music, and that's it, it's a big production value. Fighters really care about that stuff.
Of course, and I'm obviously going to ask you about them in a moment, but I did want to mention this. I don't know if you even knew this. So yesterday was March 24th, 2026. That's when the deal was announced. Did you know, Oscar, 25 years ago yesterday, so March 24th, 2001, that was the date of your big win over Arturo Gatti. 25
Oh
years
wow,
after
25 years.
the layoff,
Yeah,
the thing with
that's
Bob Arum.
interesting.
Crazy, right? So a bit of
Yeah.
symbolism there.
It is a bit symbolism, but look, things happen for a reason. They always do, and good things always happen to good people. I've always said that, right? I mean, look, we've been working on this deal forever, and there's times, Ariel, that I think to myself, my gosh, are we ever going to get a TV deal? Are we ever going to get a partner? Do I even want to stay in boxing? All these headaches and this and that. But you know what? At the end of the day, things happen to good people, and the right thing always happens. I love the sport. I love boxing. I will continue to promote for as long as I can, and making sure that I cultivate these young champions to be whoever they want to be.
Was there a part of you that thought at any point in this process, hey, if we don't come to a deal here, I might be done?
No, no,
Okay.
I'm a fighter. I'm a fighter. I will always look for a partner.
Okay.
Our production value, our content is so valuable. I mean, what we have at Golden Boy, who wouldn't want to showcase it on their platform? And lucky enough, we were able to seal the deal with DAZN and continue our relationship, and move on, and continue giving the fans the fights they want to see.
How do you feel about, sharing the space, if you will, with Top Rank, their new deal?
I'm actually excited. I've worked with Bob Arum for many years, and we've done many fights together. I'm really excited because now look, there's no excuse whatsoever from any promoter that's under the zone. You include Matchroom, you include Top Rank, you include, I believe, Queensberry, who's
Yep.
under the zone. So it's going to be exciting to see what type of matchups we can make, and what kind of hybrid events we could put together. Imagine our fighters fighting top ranked fighters, and on the same cards, and just cross promoting. It's going to be great for the sport. It's going to be great for the fans. I'm really excited about that.
There was a rumor floating around that DAZN was upset that the Ortiz Boots fight couldn't be made, and your future hinged on that fight being made. Is that all true?
It might be, it might not be. I really don't know. I was just focusing on what's right for my company, and what's the right thing that we've done for Vergil's career. That's it. The judge ruled against Vergil Ortiz and Rick Meridian, and their shenanigans. And it is what it is. We're gonna move on and do what we do. Look, at Golden Boy, we try to promote our talent. We try to create champions. We literally make dreams come true. Literally. These young champions want to become heroes. They want to become the next Oscar, the next Chavez, the next Meldrick Taylor, or whoever, or George Foreman. So that's our job, to help them, achieve their dreams, with their hard work inside the ring. And we just continue doing what we do. Anything hinging on our contract, or the zone, or the Vergil fight and Boots, I wasn't really focused on that. I was focused on making sure that we do the right thing and we protect ourselves.
What could you tell us about the state of the relationship with Vergil? Do you think that you will be able to figure out a way to work with him in the past, or has the relationship been severed forever?
Ariel, look, I'm a grown ass man, and I will forgive. Obviously, I'll never forget, but I will forgive. I think it's up to Vergil at this point. Look, he's what, 29, 30 years old. He's a man. It's like, if you want to talk, if you want to patch things up, then give me a call. Or if you want me to call you, it doesn't matter. If you want to work this out, then let's work it out. Like grown men. I still feel that he received the wrong advice and now he's paying for it, which is sad because me as a fighter, I would hate to be sidelined. But when you do the wrong thing, this is what you get.
Are you hurt, Oscar? You've been here before, you on both sides of the fence, that this was someone you were working with and that the relationship has devolved into this. Do you get hurt by this? Do you get bothered by it?
I'm not Eddie Hearn, if you're telling me that. No,
that's
I'm
not what
Eddie Hearn.
fair enough.
Look, Ariel, I've had the best advice from the best promoter in the world, and that's Bob Arum. And the one thing he told me when I got into this business 20 something years ago said, Oscar, never ever fall in love with your fighters because they will break your heart. And I learned that a long time ago. So to me, it still feels personal to a certain point because I was a fighter myself. But being on the other side of business and dealing with these fighters as a promoter, you have to put a wall in between feelings. It's, this is a business, and I've been screwed over so many times by managers, by fighters who are ungrateful. Fighters are just ungrateful when they make it to the top and they forget who got them there. They forget who helped them. They forget, they forget about everything but the dollars. And that's all that matters to them. So let's then keep it as a business.
So as of right now, as we're speaking here today, you guys haven't talked or repaired the relationship. So his return very much up in the air.
His return is up in the air. They ruled against him, and his career sidelined. It's sad for him, but this is what he gets for listening to wrong advice.
And we spoke to Todd DeBoeuf last week. He was in studio, and he sort of insinuated when asked about a Zayas versus Boots Ennis fight, Xander Zayas versus Boots. Do you think that everyone has moved on from Vergil now because of all of this, and it may be that fight instead?
I'll tell you one thing, which is pretty interesting. All these like shenanigans that took place made Vergil that much bigger. People are talking about Vergil, on a mainstream level, all because of what's taking place here with me and Rick Meridian, who is the worst freaking manager in the business. This fight with Boots and Vergil, yes, it's not going to happen, unfortunately, in the near future. But Zayas and Boots can go and fight, and hopefully it's a great fight, and then we'll see what happens from there. But I think Vergil is out of the picture now with Boots.
Okay. When we spoke in October, Zuffa Boxing had not yet launched. They've now put on, I do believe, 4 events. What is your assessment of the product right now?
I feel that Zuffa will be a promoter, a boxing promoter, when they cultivate a fighter from scratch, when they produce a world champion from zero. Okay, not putting on Jai Obatai and fighting for a fake belt, the Zuffa belt. Not a fighter like Conor Benn, who they have to pay $15 million to put him on their platform. No, when you cultivate and produce a world champion from zero, that's when I will maybe consider you a boxing promoter. But until then, they fought Jai Obatai in front of 500 people in a basement at the Apex at Zuffa. Jai Obatai deserves a lot more than that. Come on, guys.
How'd you feel about how that whole situation with the IBF played out, where it seemed like it was going to be involved, and then they stripped him, and now he's upset and seeking legal action, it seems. What do you make of this?
It's more lies from Dana White, more lies from TKO. It's all lies. when Max Kellerman was reporting inside the ring after the fight, and he asked Jai Obatai about the Zuffa belt. Like, Jai Obatai doesn't care. He wants to unify all the belts, and it's pretty sad because you think about the ring ratings. What happened to them? This guy he fought was ranked number 15 from the IBF, and he was ranked number 10 by the Ring magazine. I mean, come on, guys. Who's making up the rankings now? I really do think that the Ring rankings, are out the window. I mean, I don't think there's any integrity there whatsoever. The Ring belt the Ring magazine was everything for, 100 years, let's say, and now it can just be in the trash can. I mean, might as well. It means nothing. And that's exactly what the Zuffa belt. The Zuffa belt, I mean, this pin is worth more than the Zuffa belt. This here is worth more than the Zuffa belt. It means nothing. It's just a name.
Do you regret selling the ring?
Do I regret it? The way things are going, I actually do. And I never regret anything. When I had the Ring magazine, I kept its integrity. I kept the panel of writers from all over the world who were deciding who's number one, who's number two, making sure its integrity is in place. And I could have sustained it for forever if I wanted to, but Turkey came along, and I thought I was selling it to a person who really cared for the sport and was going to hold its integrity, but I guess I was wrong.
Yeah, because I saw on your Instagram just a couple of days ago where you were talking about the Ali Act, and I'm going to ask you about it in a moment, but you did say, why isn't the media covering this? Are you all bought and paid for? What's going on here? And let's be honest, a lot of the boxing media now works for the Ring. And so when I saw that and when I just heard your comments, I did wonder, in retrospect now, do you wish you had not sold it?
Well, look, I never regret anything in life because, everything happens for a reason, like I said before. But I think I have so much passion and love for boxing that I actually do regret this one.
How is your relationship with Turkey these days?
I speak to Dr. Rakan a lot because of business, but I haven't spoken to Turkey in a while.
Why is that?
He's a busy man. I'm pretty sure he does his businesses all over the world. He's involved in everything. So I'm sure that I'm sure I'll be speaking to him very soon, as we do have a Ryan fight coming up.
Who would that be against?
Not sure yet.
Okay.
Not sure yet. I'm hoping it's Devin Haney.
Yeah, that would be the big one.
I think that'll be the biggest fight out there for both guys. It's an opportunity for Devin Haney to obviously get revenge and vindicate himself. But for Ryan, it'll just put a stamp on his legacy once again. What he did the first time around will obviously justify, that he was ready and a better fighter the second time around.
Again, when we spoke in October, things weren't great, but then he had the fight in February, and it seemed like things were great, that fight week and whatnot. How are things between you and Ryan these days?
We're actually cool.
Okay.
We're actually cool. Look, like I said, I mean, I don't take anything personal with fighters, and I don't fall in love with fighters, and because they'll break your heart. But when there's business to be done, hey, I'm right there, making sure that I want to get the biggest purse for my fighters. I want to make sure that my fighter is taken care of, and we're taken care of. So that's all that matters to me. I'm building Golden Boy as a brand. That's my love.
Have there been talks with Team Haney about making this fight yet?
No, there hasn't been any talks whatsoever. So we're hoping by July we have a fight in place here in Las Vegas at the T-Mobile, most likely, or maybe even the Allegiant Stadium. But those talks will start very soon.
And when you say by July, do you mean the fight would happen in July or it'd get finalized in July?
Yeah, it could happen in July.
Okay, amazing.
Could happen in July.
Okay. What about this Ali Act? It passed through the House. It seems inevitable that it's going to pass. As you're watching all this transpire now, what are you thinking?
Well, it doesn't seem inevitable. I mean, it still has to pass through the Senate.
Okay.
I've had various conversations with members from the Senate, and they invited me in a few weeks to Washington and speak, and so I'm going to be there. And this is what's mind-boggling to me is that nobody's reporting on it. Nobody's talking about it. I'm expecting the boxing community to be in Washington. I'm not sure exactly what day it is, but it's in a few weeks, and I'll be there. But it feels like I'm fighting this fight alone. It's pretty odd. But look, that's what TKO is. That's what Zuffa is. That's what Dana is. They're always sneaky. And they had a hearing. What was it, yesterday or a couple of days ago, where they passed it?
Mm-hmm.
It was all sneaking. It was all under the radar. Nobody knew about it. So hopefully, with me showing up, with me being prepared, talking to the Senate, hopefully convincing him, and hopefully it gets derailed.
I do have to say, I feel like we've talked about it a lot on the show, and right now on our website, uncrowned.com, which is part of Yahoo, the top story is the Muhammad Ali American Boxing Revival Act offers the worst of boxing and MMA. We have a massive story up there, Oscar, on this. So when you say no one's talking about it, I hope you're not talking about us, because we have been.
I take that back, and you're probably the only one who hasn't been bought, so I respect that.
That is true. I think that is true, by the way. I think we're the last. That's why I say we're the last of a dying breed. You and I both, we're the last of a dying breed, Oscar.
Look, we have platforms where we have to educate and be responsible and make sure that the fans know, the fighters know. We're doing the right thing for the sport, so it's an uphill battle, but hey, like I said, I'm a fighter. I'm a fighter first.
Yes, and the fight, the proverbial fight, if you will, between you and Dana White continues to rage on. He did say some things about you recently. Can I play you a clip and get your response? Would that be possible?
Yeah, give me more ammunition for my clapback.
Here we go.
I mean, these guys like Eddie and, Oscar's on a sinking ship and will not shut the fuck up. This guy it's fascinating. He's going to have to throw the panties and fucking and stockings back on and get on OnlyFans to start paying his rent. My boy's running out of money. His ship is sinking very fast, and he's talking shit all the way down. Is that what you wanted? Is that what you wanted, everybody? There you go.
That about wraps it up with Dana.
Panties and fishnets back on, jump on OnlyFans, and pay that $23 million in fucking rent, yo, buddy. Talking shit and fucking...
It's a lot of OnlyFans.
All right, so what do you think of that, Oscar? What do you have to say in response?
He's a joke. That's all I can say. He's a Neanderthal joke. That's all he is. And the things he talks so much, he says crap shit. He doesn't say shit. He just talks. It's crazy. I mean, if you really pay attention, he doesn't say nothing. It's amazing. And so, I mean, look, it's funny how he talks about, your building being, whatever, by the banks and this and that. If you knew business, you would understand. And I'm not going to explain it. Like, I'm not going to explain to Dana, well, there's a loan involved and this and then downtown LA. I mean, if anybody knows, all the buildings in downtown are like empty. It's pretty crazy what's happening in downtown. So this was just simply a business move, just like any other businessman would do. So, but I'm not going to explain it because Dana's full of shit. And the pantyhose, I mean, come on. 30 years ago, just please stop with, that's all you have? I mean, please, come on, Uncle Fester. That's all you have is pantyhose? He probably fucking watches that picture and fucking, probably loves it. He probably loves it. That's why he talks about it so much. He loves them.
Oh, my dear.
Yeah, it's crazy. But look, on a serious note,
yes,
what TKO and Dana and Zuffa, what they're doing, look, they're pigs with lipstick. That's all they are. they're really trying to convince the world that they're doing the right thing for the fighter. No, they're not. It's not the right thing to do. They are not doing the right thing. The revival Muhammad Ali Act, no, they're just covering up. That's all they're doing, And poor fighters, when they sign, they're screwed. They really are.
Why do you
Poor
think they're
Jai
screwed?
Obatai was tricked into fighting in front of 500 people, thinking he was going to unify, and they tricked them. I mean, come on, that's not right.
Dana keeps saying, judge me in a year. See what we do in a year. They signed the Sky Sports deal, obviously the Paramount Plus deal. It seems like they've got some big deals, and they're about to sign some big names. I think Edgar Berlanga is hinting, Richardson Hitchens as well. What do you think? What do you think it will look like in a year?
Well, look, again, Uncle Turkey is funding the whole league. And like I said, when they produce a champion from scratch, from zero, then I will give them some credit, because it takes a lot of knowledge, it takes a lot of work to build a fighter from scratch. It's so easy to get funding from Turkey and put them on your platform. That's easy. I can do that in a heartbeat. But to take fighters from when they're amateurs turning pro and producing world champions, that's when I'll kind of give you the stamp of approval and say, okay, now you're a boxing promoter.
You mentioned Eddie earlier, and I wondered if you think it's interesting that it seems like Zuffa is in a business relationship with Turkey, and Turkey had a relationship with Frank Warren and Eddie Hearn. It seems like that's continuing in some way, shape, or form, but yet it was the Riyadh season crew that funded the signing of Conor Benn to take him away from Eddie, and that meant so much to him. He was so hurt. It felt to me like a bit of a fracture of the relationship. Am I reading it wrong, or do you read it the same way?
Who knows? I mean, one day you see Eddie, talking about Turkey. The other day they're holding hands, and the relationship is great. And who knows what's going on behind closed doors? One thing about me and the business is that you stay in your own lane, you focus on the job at hand, and you do the best job possible. Boxing right now is full of funny money, because of Turkey, right? And people are scrambling, and people are trying to get a hold of that money. Look, when you're doing the right thing and you stay in your lane and you focus on your own business, everything else is irrelevant. Everything else is just, like I said, funny money. So whatever relationship Eddie has with Turkey, and and Dana and Eddie are fighting, and who knows if it's true or not? Who knows if it's real? All I have to focus on is my business and continue growing Golden Boy and producing world champions. That's all I'm focused on.
And I'll let you go in a moment, Oscar, but that clip of Dana talking about you, that was before the deal with DAZN was announced and this news of the foreclosure in downtown LA was out there. And so it seemed like he was sort of dancing on your grave. What could you tell us about the state of Golden Boy right now, as far as a business? Are you happy? Is it healthy? Are there issues? What can you say about the state right now?
We've always been healthy. We've always been happy. We've always been, look, the fact that your TV deal ends, okay, it doesn't mean you're not negotiating to extend, and it took several months to renew with DAZN, but we always knew we would have a deal with DAZN because this is the home of boxing. And so when Dana, he looks for that little crack in the door just to open it and fucking talk shit, that's who Dana is. He can't help himself. But it's always lies and lies and lies with Dana White and TKO. That's all it is. So, like I said, I'm doing my job, doing my business. We're healthy as ever. We're doing big fights. May 2nd with Benavidez and Zurdo, Ryan Garcia in July. We're doing Kid Austin. We have the next great heavyweight champion. We have all these young fighters who are coming up. Business as usual. And, we're the best at doing it. So as long as I continue staying focused and writing clapback, I'm a happy camper.
And I have a question about the Benavidez fight, but one last thing on all of this. Eddie keeps saying that he thinks that there's going to be a revolt among the UFC fighters because they're paying top dollar for the likes of Conor Benn and others. We're hearing, some big numbers attached to Berlanga and whatnot. And now, the Tom Aspinall situation, John Jones, I don't know if you saw. Do you think that that's going to come and maybe bite them in the behind?
Oh, it has been for a long time now. I've been preaching this for a while. Look, UFC fighters are getting screwed. They really are. When you have corporate America making, or their corporation making 80% of the revenue, in boxing, it's the other way around. So, of course, UFC fighters are going to be pissed off. These fighters, man, they fight their ass off. I respect them 1,000,000%. How they train, what they have to go through. Yeah, it's like a fighter, like a boxer, but even more so because you're on the ground, you have to grapple. You don't have support, training expenses. You're coming out of pocket. It's terrible for these UFC fighters. So yeah, there's more noise now today because of social media, but this has been going on forever.
You mentioned the Benavidez fight, massive fight against Zurdo on May 2nd. That's a PBC show. Will it also air on DAZN as well, or is it just on Prime Video?
Yes, it will air on DAZN.
Okay.
We made a deal with DAZN, and they will air it on their platform. And look, more platforms, the better. More people can watch. More people can pay for it. So I think, look, this is what boxing is all about. People coming together, promoters coming together and making the best fights happen. So the fact that DAZN has Top Rank, Queensberry, Matchroom, and now Golden Boy under their wing, they're gonna soar and fly as high as they can now.
When is your next show?
My next show is gonna be, I believe, I had one scheduled for April 18th. I believe the date was. Couldn't finalize that. So May 2nd will be my next show here in Las Vegas with Zurdo and Benavidez.
Okay. Winner fights Jai?
And then we're off to the races. After that with DAZN.
Okay.
Oh, it's going to be crazy. Yeah, we're going to be busy.
Winner of that fight fights Jai Opetaia?
I don't know. I really don't know. I mean, is Zuffa gonna allow Jai Opetaia to fight? I don't know.
Okay. We will find out. Oscar, it's always great to talk to you. Always enjoy picking your brain. The clapbacks are great. So we are getting one tomorrow, right? We're going to get one?
We are getting one, and it will be epic.
Okay. All right. We look forward to that. Congratulations on the deal with DAZN.
Thank you,
Very
brother.
happy for you guys. And like I said, always appreciate you coming on. Keep up the great work.
Hey, and thank you for not being bought off, brother.
Thank you. I will never be. Thank you, Oscar. All the best to you. There he is, the great Oscar De La Hoya, the one and only Golden Boy. What a guy. What a character in the game. And that's why I love the boxing game. There are so many great characters, so much going on, such a fascinating time in the sport. Thanks for watching this video. Before you go, if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button for us. Also, give us a thumbs up, leave a nice comment. These things go a long way. And while you're here, do check out the rest of the channel. We've got live shows and full interviews, clips, and a whole lot more. We're doing big things here, and we appreciate your support very much.